Catch up! That's right! I got my own talk show now!
Hello?
His name is David Pakman, political commentator, left-wing propagandist, master of fake news, and heir to the Pakman family fortune. He gets money from George Soros to promote communism, Antifa, and probably baby punching too. And he's here today to spread more of his anti-American freedom-hating soy-boy lies. David Pakman, Creationist Cat Chat, salute you. Hey, David Pakman. Welcome to Creationist Cat Chat, the Lord's chosen talk show.
Thank you so much. Love the introduction, love the energy, but a lot of that stuff was not really accurate in any way.
Well, Dave, we have some very stringent fact checkers here on Creationist Cat Chat, so can you name me just even one thing that I got wrong?
Well, the George Soros stuff. I mean, I don't have anything to do with George Soros. I've never met George Soros. We've not received any money from George Soros.
Okay. But that's just one thing, Dave. I mean, if that's the only problem you have, it sounds like you're kind of getting a little nitpicky there.
I mean, we don't do fake news. That's not our thing. There is no Pakman family fortune, so I, by definition, kind of can't be the heir to it.
You are a huge liar. Because your connection to the Pakman family is more than well established. I mean, you have one of the most widely viewed births of all time. So don't try and pull a fast one on me, Pakman. Now can we please move on?
I'm ready to discuss the issues whenever you are.
Okay, so you host the David Pakman Show, which is a televised radio and internet fake news show. And since
there's no fake news on my show. I mean, I do an analysis show.
Well, have you ever done an analysis of how good you are at listening to questions? Because I didn't finish mine. Okay, so since you cover current events on your analysis/fake news show, perhaps you've heard of Donald Trump, at least in passing?
Yeah, I do a news show, President of the United States. Yeah, it's a topic on the show, of course.
Okay, great. You know who the President of the United States is. Kind of a weird thing to brag about. But anyhow, how do you think the Trumpsters doing these days?
Terrible job. I mean, at the bottom of the scale, whatever the bottom is.
Well, what if the scale was between 1 and 667 billion? Huh? What about then?
If 1's the bottom, then I would say 1.
Okay, well, I think it's pretty obvious that you're just used to 1 to 10 scales there. So if we adjust that properly to the 667 billion scale, let's see, crunching the numbers there. Whoa, you give Trump like a 670 million or something. I don't even know what that is. You must really like Trump.
He's not doing a good job. I mean, I'm open to hearing about what he's doing so well if you think he's doing things well, but I'm not seeing it.
David, libtards and SJWs are getting pwned at record numbers. American greatness levels are at an all-time high. And, jobs? Jobs.
Is this the way the interview normally goes? Are these the questions?
Yes, of course they're the questions. Look, I'll make it easier for you, all right? Jobs?
How has he created jobs? I'm curious.
Well, Fox and Friends added some new people.
Yeah, so I'm not really hearing anything that he's actually done, right?
Oh, come on, Dave. What about Space Force?
Space Force!
Come on, you gotta admit, that just sounds cool.
Well, if he did something, then maybe there'd be something to evaluate. But just saying he'd like an outer space military, as exciting it might be to some people, it's not really doing anything.
David, he had Kid Rock and Ted Nugent in the Oval Office. That's the writers of Ball with a Ball and Wang Dang Sweet Poontang at the same time. Do you realize what a win for America that is?
I don't, but I'd love to hear more about it.
Well, what I'm more interested in right now, David Pakman, is can you name even more than one substantial problem you have with the Donald?
Sure. Well, I mean, he's embarrassed the United States on the world stage, which, for optics purposes, isn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
He has no economic policy to speak of.
Okay.
He thinks he understands trade wars, but doesn't, and is making one disastrous move after another.
All right.
His foreign policy is basically non-existent.
Okay,
I mean,
Dave,
I think most of the countries.
Dave. All I asked was if you could name more than one substantial problem. If you had just said yes, it really would have expedited the process. Jeez. Now let's move on. But I feel like before we do, I have to remind you of one more important thing.
Donald Trump is president!
All right, very good.
Well, David, now I'd like to touch on your unhealthy preoccupation with Bernie Sanders a little bit.
I'm glad to talk about Bernie. For someone who's obsessed with him, as you say, I don't really talk about him very much.
Well, Dave, you are what's commonly referred to as a Bernie bro. What about his savagely violent ideology attracts you to this madman?
What kind of violence is that again?
Oh, come on, David Pakman. I mean, aside from the vicious sneak attack Bernie perpetrated against Trump while on the campaign trail, we have footage of countless insanely brutal attacks carried out in his name.
Like what?
Well, Pakman, it just so happens that we sensed your staggering ignorance on this topic, so we took the liberty of whipping up a little compilation for you. Here you go.
It's Pepe's become
Bernie
kind
Bros!
Bernie Bros!
Bernie Bros! Bernie Bros!
Bernie Bros! Bernie Bros! Bernie Bros!
Bernie Bros! Bernie Bros! Pretty bad stuff, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Those videos looked a little odd. I mean, I certainly can't comment on them until I know even what on earth it is I just saw.
David, you saw a kangaroo getting punched in the face in the name of Bernie Sanders. Surely you must disavow this madness.
I'm not even really sure I get what it is you're asking me to disavow.
All right, well, let's talk about your communism then. How long have you been a communist, and what unspeakable trauma from your childhood wrecked your brain enough for you to embrace it?
No, I'm not a communist. There's no evidence that I'm a communist.
Oh yeah? What about this photo right here?
No, that's a fake picture. That's not, I mean, that's not a shirt I have. It's not a shirt I've ever even seen anybody wear. That's not.
Well, hold on now. I'm actually really glad that you're bringing that up and denying that, David Pakman, because you too can own one or all of these specially priced t-shirts, sweatshirts, and mugs from the David Pakman denies ever wearing this collection. Along with this stylish I Don't Careica About America shirt David would probably deny ever wearing too. Separate links to all those designs, as well as a bunch of other awesome CC merch available at my Teespring shop, can be found down below in the freaking Christ box. Best Christ box on the internet. See that, Pakman? That's how capitalism is done, baby. But let's get back to you being an American-hating communist.
Yeah. There's just, I'd love to talk economic policy with you. We could talk about communism, but it's just, I'm not a communist, period. And those aren't my views.
David, are you aware that communism has a combined worldwide death count of over like 850 billion?
No, that's not a number I've heard, and I can't imagine that that's accurate by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, that includes the cats, Dave. Millions of cats died in these regimes, especially in China. They don't call them Chairman Meow for nothing.
Wow, very, very good.
David, why do you hate America?
Why do you think I hate America?
Just a hunch. David, do you even realize that America is the birthplace of awesome things like freedom and liberty and money and ice cream? David, why do you hate ice cream?
I love ice cream. Pistachio especially.
Ah, so you're willing to partake in the delicious ice cream America creates, yet you have a seething hatred for the country that created it. Unbelievable.
No, I don't. I mean, I think it's quite the opposite, right? I want the United States of America to be even better, and that's why I do what I do.
Well, as we know, David Pakman, Jesse Lee Peterson kicked you off his show and referred to you as both a deceiver and part of the family of the children of the lie.
He's a deceiver. He is part of the family of the children of the lie.
So sorry, Pakman, but I'm just not sure if I can believe you on that one.
Apology accepted.
So, what was it like being a part of the family of the Children of the Lie? Was it sort of like the Brady Bunch, but with occasional satanic human sacrifices?
It was uneventful and with gefilte fish is how I would describe it.
Uneventful human sacrifices. All right. But listen, David, we're getting to the end of the show, and you know what? We've been thinking, we've noticed that you've been using your intro and theme for a little while, so we whipped up a little something that's bold, innovative, and new that we thought you, and especially your fans, would love.
Great.
All right. Kick it, JC. Yo, it's Dave Pakman Show. If you like fake news, he's your bro. Satanism, communism, and current events too. From this Argentinian Soy-Boy Jew. Hating Donald Trump's about all he do. So get ready, Pakman Show. Skeezily, boozily, boo! Yeah! Buy Creationist Cat t-shirt.
That is so amazingly good and accurate that I don't know how we would be able to continue without that as our theme song. And our attorney will get in touch to negotiate terms with you. I mean, that's just amazing.
Well, that's exactly what I thought you'd say, David Pakman, because obviously that intro was amazing. You know quality when you see it. And for that, I'd like to say, Creationist Cat Chat, salute you. Hey, thanks so much for being on Creationist Cat Chat, David Pakman. I'm just really sorry we didn't have time to kick you off the show like Jesse Lee Peterson did.
No problem. I'm glad to kick myself off when the time comes.
Great. Well, don't forget, Shodomites, that links to the David Pakman Show on YouTube and the full line of fashion-forward David Pakman denies ever wearing these t-shirts and stuff, and everything else is down below in the Christ box. Best Christ box on the internet. Guaranteed. Dave, is there anything more you'd like to freaking say before we go?
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to Creationist Cat. Support on Patreon if that's your thing.
Excellent advice, Dave, because patrons will have access to bonus footage from this interview. But remember, as always, you don't have to, but if you don't, you'll totally burn in hell. Jesus!